So, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I think this episode will be a little bit a chilled one because I've actually seen that I nearly finished this book summary that I'm going to talk about or going to discuss about or discuss with you quite now. It is 0 to 1 from Peter Thiel. It is basically the book that I've been talking about over the past 3 days practically, or 4 days. It's quite a good thing, or a good book, I think. There are quite a lot in it, even though you can definitely see that in all those business books and books about financial things, especially in these two categories, information really just kind of overlaps some kind of. You can definitely see, a lot of people just talk about the same things, which is on the first view, you might be like, this total shit, and I don't know, if you just read the same shit over and over again. Yeah, that's one part, but on the other side, it's also great that you can actually see, okay, this is actually something that makes sense. This is actually something a lot of people, and not only one person, does suggest it, and therefore you can pretty much be sure that this is actually something that's kind of worth something. I'm quite thinking if I should be a little bit higher, I think, or sit straight would be actually the better one. But I'm Christopher Walch. I'm Walch. I'm an 18-year-old graphic design student from Austria, and I'm fucking pumped to go through this with you. And I think we're actually going to start right now so that I'm actually kind of sure that I will go through this one fully today. Maybe we will talk about something else afterwards, or we'll just look for another one in the meantime, and we'll talk a little bit, look for summaries, and I think this will be a great time. I hope I'm not wasting yours and mine, but definitely not mine, but more I'm quite thinking about not wasting your time. Sorry. So will they come if you build it? And basically, I would really suggest you and invite you to go to the other episodes. You can just look for the video description, or for the podcast description, or the podcast episode description, and then you can definitely see what books I'm discussing in this certain episode, so that you can totally be sure. Okay, this is the first or the second part of 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Will they come if you build it? Earlier in the book, Thiel discussed having one superior distribution plan. Regardless of how good your product is, it needs to be distributed effectively. And I would even say that you should diversify it in every aspect of life. Diversification is something that's so important, and it's something that I quite realized pretty much in the last few weeks, I would say. It's not a long time, definitely not. What is this diversification, or what I actually mean is that, for example, if you're a social media practitioner, so you're just, putting out social media content, and maybe you're only doing it on Instagram. What could happen is that Instagram goes down, and, what's then about your business, or about your site, or about your passion? Everything is gone then, and therefore diversify it a little bit. Therefore, just putting your content on all the other social media platforms that are out there as well, to be quite sure that, even though one of them goes down or something happens, or you kind of get hacked, there are a lot of things that could happen, that you are safe. And I think it's the same thing with earning money and, having a job and or having a business. I think it's the same, not having all your eggs in one basket, as Buffett would say, but rather diversify diversify all the eggs and put them in several baskets, so that you can be sure that, if one basket gets destroyed by a dog, you can definitely just, live without this one, because you're just earning enough money from the others that you actually are safe and can go and live without dying and starving and whatever. It's not funny, but so the total net profit that you earn on average over the course of your relationship with a customer, in brackets, the customer lifetime value, or CLV, must exceed the amount you spend on average to acquire a new customer. The customer acquisition, acquisition, Never mind. So the CAC. In general, the higher the price of your product, the more you have to spend to make a sale, and the more it makes sense to spend it. Distribution methods can be viewed as follows, or as followed actually. Complex sales. This happens when the average sale is above 7 figures, the kind of sale that occurs once a year. Complex sales are, as the name suggests, complex, but it's the key to selling products of high value. And I think it's definitely complex. Selling a 7-figure product to a person is definitely difficult, and not only in terms of finding these certain people and and also in terms of pretty much telling them and kind of perceiving them to really get into this product and buy this product, and to make them sure, okay, this is something, and to be sure for yourself that this is a product that customer, the customer gives value, or the product gives value to the customer, and the customer has something from it. It's not like unnecessary bought or whatever. This is always important, and I think it is important for me as well, because I do not want to fuck around with my customers. If I have a business, customers are key. Without my customers, I would fucking die. I wouldn't even exist as a business. But so therefore, just watching your customers and care about them, and not selling them some stupid shit that's overpriced because you only want to make the money. This is just some short-term thinking. If you think in the long term, you will definitely give them something that they will actually come back again and tell them, or tell you, okay, your product was great, I want to work with you a longer time from now on, or I want to work with you from now on. The personal sales. When the sales are between 10,000 and 100,000, it's important to have processes in place so the sales team can sell to a wide audience. This also means when new people join the sales team, it's easy to pick up and continue. The distribution doldrums. This is what Thiel refers to when a product is not worth enough, which then would quite be 1,000 or beneath 1,000, or quite around 1,000, says the author of this article. To have a personal sales person complete every deal, but the marketing is not targeted enough. You get stuck in the dead zone. Marketing and advertising. This non-personal selling approach is for products with low value that appeal to the masses, or masses actually. When salespeople cannot be hired to sell small value items, companies turn to advertising to get the message out there. This actually makes sense. I've never thought about this, but it totally makes sense, But the thing is, you see so much advertising, all over the place. And then you can totally see like, okay, Coca-Cola's product isn't, worth that much because they are doing advertising. And if it would be like costing much, or if it would be expensive, there would be some sales guy or girl. And this makes sense, if you just think about, the really high and expensive products that you might buy in your life, like cars and whatever. Cars, though, get advertised basically, yeah, totally. But, there's always some kind of person that you just, will talk to you and will just see which car is the best for you and whatever. So there's always a person in between you and buying some sort of. But if, the most things that got advertised, in my place, it can be kind of different when you're in Abu Dhabi or, somewhere in very, very rich places, that they actually, advertise planes or, really, really fucking expensive cars like Ferraris or whatever. This could totally be true, I'm just talking about my place and what I see every single day in terms of advertising. But then you can definitely see most of the time it's like chocolate, or it's some beverage or whatever, all these products that are not that expensive, but yeah, they totally appeal to the masses or whatever this is called. This is called. Viral marketing. A new, fast, cheap, effective way to gain momentum. When a product goes viral, current users are engaging with their friends and spreading the message. The chain continues exponentially. This is only this only works in certain industries, but when it works, it can be highly effective. So I think there's also some kind of mistake in this sentence or in this paragraph. A new, fast, cheap, effective way to gain momentum. Oh, okay, that was a period. So when a product goes viral, current users are engaging with their friends and spreading the message. I kind of think they're talking about social media, isn't it? And in terms of social media, at my point of view, influencer marketing is something that you should, if you're a business owner, totally look for, because a lot of influencers basically do not really know how much they are worth. If they're really small, if they are 10K and above, they will definitely know how much they're worth. It always depends on who this is and with whom they have worked with, and if they have actually worked with someone before, so before you, and so on and so on and so on. So I think at my point of view, influencer marketing is something pretty great. And I actually did an advertising on Instagram stories as well. I've been talking about it quite often, I think. But the thing is, at the end, I just looked at my my results and the statistics and the diagrams and whatever, and it turned out to be 1,004 impressions. So which means that I've basically reached 1,004 people or persons. Most of them were actually guys. Seems to be like my target audience is more like guys than anything else. But with €2, which is basically not exactly €2, but which is basically $1.6 dollars spent, which means that I'm fucking reaching 1,000 people for €2. It was like 198 or something. They just didn't take all the money, which was something that surprised me, because they actually just only kinda let me pay the 198, even though I at the beginning of this advertising campaign said, okay, you can totally use $2 or €2, because I actually wanted to see how much people I can reach with the lowest amount of money I can put into the system. And this was actually the lowest amount. The thing is, there are a lot of objectives you can use with Facebook, with the Facebook ad manager, which is basically the software that is also there for the Instagram ads and so on nowadays, because Facebook bought Instagram just I think in 2016 or 17 or something, or even 18, I don't know. But there are a lot of objectives. So there are first of all reach, and there is brand awareness, and there are lead generation, and a lot of other things. So basically, I would say, at my point of view, a lot of them are just the same, or they sound the same. It always depends on how this algorithm or how this ad campaign then in the end works, because just reaching as many people as possible might not be the best thing. I don't even know if I did it. It could be the thing. I've just, I've just looked at all the descriptions, and I've seen, I've actually taken a brand awareness, I think, and they also said, okay, this is only, or this ad only gets to shown to people that are actually interested or might be actually interested in your thing and your brand and whatever. But in the end, you will never know. And so it's, for me, because it was my first one, it's definitely about learning how this is working, what works the best and whatever. But something that you could totally look out for is the Facebook Ad Manager target audience kind of search module thing software, which is, it's amazing. It's really fucking amazing. You can type in, what things people are interested in, where they live, other things like the language, if they are married or not. There are so many fucking factors that you can put into this fucking system, and they will get you results. They will show you where these people live that you just want to find, or you're searching right now, if they're actually married or not, what school they went to, or if they graduated, or if they're just attending high school, how old they are, if it's man, if it's female, what they're interested in, what they also like. There's so many things that you can only see through the Facebook, Facebook Ad Manager or target audience search or creation tool. it's just amazing. And you can definitely just then target your audience pretty accurate because you totally know so much about them. It's important to understand the different strategies and which one works for your particular product or service. Consider the value, the price, and the necessary manpower involved. Computers are substitutes for human, and that's totally true. And I've quite lately, and this is also something that I've been talking about in an episode as well. I've been talking to a colleague of mine about what the future will look like, which is something that I'm pretty looking forward to because I'm fucking interested in if there are flying cars, if there are no flying cars, if there are kind of electrical cars or with hydrogen or whatever. So there are a lot of possibilities, there are a lot of factors, and I'm also just really looking forward to the medicine, how this involves, if we're actually then invincible at the end of my life. Could I even be just, living forever? I'm just thinking about this, and I'm pretty fucking, pumped for just seeing the future and just, living in the future. But maybe it will disappoint me and we just fuck around with the earth, and global warming will just be more extreme and we get so fucked and whatever. This could also be true. It doesn't have to be nice, but I just think that it will be nice. We have a lot of technology. By now we have foldable fucking phones. This is something that you couldn't have imagined a few years ago. So actually last year, I'm not in the space too much, but Samsung Samsung actually, or whatever you call it in English, or which is, I don't even know how they're actually pronounced. I just have to look this up. Actually, the people who say Nike, it's Nike. I've actually looked it up a year ago how this is actually pronounced, because a lot of people say Nike, a lot of people say Nike, and I was like, okay, I will just want to know what is the truth and what is the real one. The CEO, I think it was, I don't remember correctly, said that Nike or Nike, whatever, has to rhyme with spiky, which was an incredible funny solution for this problem as a written form, because there would be no other way than just also making it like in the dictionary, where you have just some kind of things in brackets where you can just see how you actually pronounce this. But actually interesting. So computers are substitutes to humans. Everyone expects computers to do more in the future, so much more that some wonder 30 years from now, will there be anything left for people to do? I think especially creative work will definitely be a thing that will be there in 30 years as well. So I do not think that just robots or computers will get so creative or will get creative at all in such a short period of time. Yeah, but the thing is, it is not much. 30 years is definitely not much, like seen in the macro. In the micro, because of of the exponential growth that we have right now in terms of technology and in terms of research, it could be much. It could actually be like, okay, I do not have any job then. Could be the truth. And then I hope that I that I have something to do. So Thiel emphasizes that it's not that computers are going to replace humans, but continue to complete our human abilities. Businesses of the future will use technology not to remove the necessity of humans or eliminate jobs, but to empower people to be able to do more. This is the business model of the future. As an example, Thiel discusses teachers. A good teacher knows that all students have individual needs, and often they need their learning to be structured differently. For a long time, teachers were only able to teach in one medium, but computers and technology are allowing them to adapt and cater, whatever cater means, to more needs. It doesn't replace the teacher, but provides the teacher with a platform to do more. Yeah, totally. And even though in my school, not that much teachers do just use kind of other platforms or the internet definitely, because we just have to see some pictures if we are talking about design or whatever. But it's not like we will just have so much because we have the internet, we will just hang around in the internet all day long and we use those platforms and social media to actually show people whatever. But singularity. Our task today is to find singular ways to create the new things that will make the future not just different, but better. To go from 0 to 1, the essential first step is to think for yourself. Only by seeing our world anew, as fresh and strange as it was to the Asians who saw it first, can be both recreated and pre-reserve it for the future. Definitely. And I think it's especially my task to really be able to, or really show, or really make the the Earth survive as long as people are actually on this planet. And we have been fucking around with Earth pretty long. And even though a lot of people just think like, okay, no, this is not something that's true, or whatever shit, but not gonna talk about politics, because actually I do not have any clue about politics, first of all, and second of all, I do not want to start a war in my fucking podcast. But because what did I want to say? Fuck. I think it's totally my task to, I don't know, I kind of feel like that I do want to be able to, or want to be making sure that a lot of people do have a great life in terms of, the environment, in terms of a lot of people are poor and they just shouldn't be poor because it's quite unfair. I'm sitting here, I have everything. There's some water here, this for this kind of water, for this amount, which is basically, only one sip. People would fucking kill for that. Some of them, definitely. In the desert or in Africa or just wherever, a lot of people would just kill for the position that I'm in right now. And therefore, I'm not quite understanding why a lot of people in the Western world or in the first world do complain about stupid shit so often. It is really about, and this is also something from Gary Vee, it is really about perspective. A lot of people do not have the perspective or kind of lost it. And I understand it. Yeah, we definitely adapt. We are humans. We adapt to every fucking shit. If it's kind of living in near to a volcano, or I don't know, we could, I think, even live underwater if we are just, adapting to it. I think so. It will just take a lot of time in terms of actually being able to breathe underwater and to actually kind of really adapting to it. But you can definitely see certain people are just really adapted to the area they're living in. And therefore they have just certain abilities. And that's it. But I still think it's kind of, I don't know, I think it's a kind of pity that a lot of people just do complain so much in a world where there's nothing to complain about. Yeah, I complain as well. So I'm not going to say, I'm the best or whatever. I complain as well about stupid shit. I'm not like saying I'm the best or whatever, but I do often, and it pisses me on as well, because I should be fucking grateful for what I have. I'm sitting here in a fucking maybe heated room, so I could do it with some water. There's actually some food next to me that, I've eaten, but I could, just grab a new fruit or new foods and eat it. It's so easy for me. So there's pretty much nothing I should be complaining about or should be kind of worrying about. But because, this just really comes down to the Maslow's pyramid of needs, which I've been talking about in, I think, the last episode of 0 to 1, but I do not remember. But this is really the same thing. If you do have just the base and, the basic needs and, maybe a little bit further needs, you want to achieve something else. And if you do not have, your base, you do not want to achieve something else. You don't want to be on top if you do not have the base. The base is like food and, something to drink and whatever. And you can totally, I think you have experienced it as well. The moments when you're so extremely thirsty that you cannot think about something else than just drinking water. Or if you're so hungry that you can't think about something else than just eating something. Or if you're just breathless, or you can't breathe right now and there's nothing else you're thinking about than just, the willingness to breathe again. I think, people have experienced it. But it's like you just really have to remind yourself pretty often on it so that you actually, don't dismiss it and don't forget it. But let's talk about the conclusion and the key takeaways, because this was actually the end of this book summary. So not quite really, because there is the conclusion and the key takeaways, but basically it was the end of this summary. And in terms of time, I'm pretty good in time, totally. So if you want to be part of the future, get out of these organizations and get involved in a startup. This is where the technological advancements are made. Thiel, whatever he's actually called, explains that moving first is not necessarily the end goal. It's a tactic. The goal should be generating cash flow. You can't be the last mover and still take over. Yeah, but you could. If you're just, the really last mover, but you just turn up so much and you just do so much from the point on where you just pretty much realize that you are the last mover and that you basically surpass all the others. I think this, could work, but maybe it's kind of, in terms of the definition of it. You need to establish the rules right at the founding of your business. This way, people know what the organization is all about and in what direction you are headed. Culture is important in business, definitely. Consider the distribution method that is the most effective for your product and service. Identify the value and the best means to get it out there. And the last one is use technology as a way to empower you and any employees, and don't use it to eliminate people. I do quite think that, at the end it will always come down to pretty much eliminating sounds so tough, kind of. But at the end I kind of feel like, okay, it will always come down to that. Because why do we have machinery and, just computers? Because they are faster than us and they do not need any breaks and they just don't think and they do whatever we tell them to do. And they just, they do not cost anything, but we pay them once or we buy them once and that's it. And I think at the end, a lot of jobs will be kind of conquered or whatever you want to say by machinery, definitely, because technology will evolve and technology will be able to do so much more in the future. Even Elon Musk himself said AI, so artificial intelligence, might be a threat in the future. This is something that I've been thinking about as well a little bit, because I'm not in this space that much that I have such a big opinion or such a great opinion or such a kind of structured opinion that you can actually say, okay, this will totally happen or this won't happen or whatever. But I kind of feel like it do sound pretty kind of scientific and sci-fi and whatever, that such a scenario that is kind of crazy and just to imagine, but or to be imagined. But I think at the end it could actually be the truth. Yeah, why not? If it is really like, artificial intelligence is just learning and learning and learning and learning until it just basically has its own mind and we can't stop it anymore, because it's just thinking, and every single thing we could do or we could make would actually this machinery would actually know it before we actually have the conclusion. So therefore the machinery will actually, or the computer will actually be one step faster each time, or even 2 steps or 3 steps. It's the same thing with the chess computer. It pretty much it was able to kind of win against the best chess player in the world. And it took a little bit of time, but it eventually, and at the end you can totally see it did. It took a time to just make this machinery, not in terms of the game, but it did it. It did it. So I kind of think like, okay, it always starts somewhere, but where did it end, or where will it end? But let's go ahead with the further reading. Or should I actually be... No, there is no... Oh, okay, yeah. The action steps. Thiel has identified 7 key questions to ask yourself before you begin your embark on a business. You begin your embark on your business. The first one is engineering question. Can you create breakthrough technology instead of incremental improvements? Timing question. Is now the right time to start a particular business? Third one, monopoly question. Are you starting with a big share of a small market? The fourth one is people question. Do you have the right team? The fourth one is distribution question. Do you have a way to not just create but deliver your product? Sixth one, and the durability question. Will your market position be defensible 10 and 20 years into the future? And the last one is the secret question with how you identified a unique opportunity that others don't see. So have you identified a unique opportunity that others don't see or didn't see or whatever? And the further reading. The Third Wave by Steve Case is an insightful look into the future of startups and entrepreneurs in our ever-evolving technological world, examining experiences from his own life, large global companies, and recent stir-ups such as Uber or Case. She has plenty of advice for those looking to achieve more and succeed in what he is calling the third wave. Good to Great by Jim Collins is another great read. Collins examines what it takes to turn an average company into a great one. And the $100 startup, which is definitely something that I'm not quite sure about if I actually went through it on this channel or on this podcast as well. Because I just, once wanted to go through it, but I was like, I've been reading a few lines and then I was like, okay, I'm not sure, but it kind of feels like that I've been talking about this one before. Unfortunately, I quite, recently started to put the titles of the books that I'm actually discussing in the fucking description, just like, everybody can see it. And so therefore I would actually be searching for the video, which would take a lot of time. So by Chris Guillebeau, or whatever he's called, has two key themes: freedom and value. Freedom is what we are all looking for, and value is the way to achieve it. The concept of having your own startup is the ultimate form of freedom, according to Guillebeau, or Guillebeau, or whatever. He discusses different lessons on the road to beginning your own startup, with the focus on micro businesses. This book has plenty of tips and advice for every step of the journey. And then the last book is the guidelines book, which is the ebook of the author of this article or of this summary, which is actually 300 books combined into one, with 33 actual steps or 33 actual rules or guidelines, which is costing $15 or $13.99 or something, I guess, dollars. And the actual book cost, all these 300 books. No, it isn't 300 books, but it's 33 books, and they all cost together 300 books. 300 bucks. 300 by... The actual thing is that I really want to read a book again, because I haven't been reading in such a lot of time and such a long time, and it is kind of pissing me off, to be honest, because I've always been reading. This was always a kind of part of me until I kind of stumbled across Gary Vee, and I kind of pretty much understood, okay, I can use the time for doing some Instagram conversations, or just, to post something, to post some comments, or to do something in my story or whatever. So I could practically use it for my business or my thing that I'm doing. But at the end, reading something is quite something that I like, and I quite feel like good when I'm doing it, which makes sense because you're actually doing something that seems to be giving you a lot of knowledge, that seems to be good for your life, that seems to be a lot of rich people also do, and therefore it's quite normal, or I quite understand it for myself that this is something that lets me feel good. But on the other side, I do just gain knowledge. This is just facts. You can gain knowledge through books quite easily, and it is also what Elon Musk suggests and a lot of other people suggest. Even though I do have to say that Gary Vee at this point is totally right, that you should actually only be doing what you think is right for you and you think is working for you. And if you just pretty much know that books aren't working for you, then don't read them, don't use them, just let them be books and do something else. Maybe you will listen to audiobooks instead, or maybe you just only participate in this certain company or in this certain kind of area or market. This is also a thing. This is practically, I think, is what Gary Vee is doing. He is just doing. He's just doing things, and this is his way of learning things, which is great. It might work for him. It might work for a lot of other people. I think it basically also works for me as well. So For example, in terms of programs, the more I use the programs, the more I just know about them and the better I get at them until I'm just really good at them, which, makes sense, but, it will take time, I have to be patient and whatever. Actually, something that I haven't known before, but I've just gone through a few quotes from Bill Gates, actually, and he also has been emphasizing the fact that you should be patient, which is something I quite like, because being patient is important. It is, key for me. But yeah, I think this is then it for the episode. I will not go through just searching another book or whatever, because I kind of feel like, okay, this might only be disturbing for you, because I'm not going to talk that much, I think. But yeah, and in terms of the episode, also, it's great. 35 minutes. It's not too long. It's not too short. It feels like okay for the podcast, and it feels like, yeah, totally okay for YouTube as well. But yeah, I wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, success. I hope you're giving back something, because it's important, because creating something in your progress is some kind of key, I think. And you hope you have a great legacy, and just to remind yourself to be nice to the people out there. Just be nice to the people. I'm struggling with it myself, because I tend to not think about it, which is definitely something I should not do. And then something insulting gets out of my mouth, which is totally not good, and which is totally not good for my karma as well. But yeah, I just wish you the best. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, whatever time zone you're in. And I see you the next time. And I love you.